The convenient capsule form for only
Good morning,
22
everybody.
cents a serving. Our proprietary blend has no additives or fillers, just the full nutritional value of a variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables. Balance of Nature provides you with a natural energy boost without a caffeine crash, a 3 o'clock slump, or an early bedtime. Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself by going to balanceofnature.com or by calling 1-800-2468-751 and use discount code USA.
One issue that has not been discussed very often on the campaign trail is the cost of childcare. USA Radio News' John Clemens reports.
Carrie Cronke of Care.com tells us their survey of over 2,000 parents revealed those who pay for child care indicated it was a big enough issue that it would determine which candidate would get their vote.
Well, we found that 89% of our respondents said the child care policy will influence how they vote. We really feel like COVID and the pandemic has really shone a light on how critical childcare is to getting people back to work and making the economy run. And we're seeing that 40% of people said that it was very important to have a strong childcare policy, which is up from closer to 30% prior to the pandemic.
For the USA Radio Network, I'm John Clemens.
Daylight savings time has officially ended. Be sure to check your clocks around the house, especially those not tied to the internet. Arizona and Hawaii do not do the daylight savings time. USA Radio News.
Working from home?
Wonder why.
I'm glad they pointed that out. I'm glad they pointed that out.
Staying at home.
A lot of people probably don't know that.
Walk your pet at a
That Arizona and Hawaii don't do it.
Yeah, some parts of
favorite toys and letting your dog find them. If you have
counties too, they'll do it somewhere.
No. For 5 to 10
some of the
or better yet,
native residents, some of the native, some of the Indian
There are more
reservations
helpful
don't
pet
do
care
it too.
tips at youmove.com. Spelled YUMove.com.
NASCAR returns to Martinsville.
You can go on and find out.
Danny Hamlin tells us what it's like to be at Martinsville.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you that we've not been as strong on the short tracks this year as what we were last year. I think we finished in the top 5
what was the
every short track.
What was your
last
date
year.
2 weeks ago?
So,
The
but
show
I mean,
date.
I'm confident we've run
18th?
strong at some time. At
The 18th,
times, but other
26th?
times we've not.
18th, 25th, 11th, first.
For us. Well, it wasn't a shock because I got an
18th,
email
right?
out
18th.
I want
saying
to thank
essentially we were going to be terrible because our data
Yeah.
was wrong. But you know.
Can I sit here and
that
go,
we really adapt well as a team, and we handle the information that we get really well. So I think certainly I'm optimistic.
Good morning, everyone, on the Facebook Live. I hope everyone's having a great start to your All Saints Day today, November 1st.
Working within our team that I'm pretty
Who's
confident
on
that
there, yeah?
we can go there
Yeah,
and
I
contend
don't
for a
know.
win, and that race is
One person is on.
So
I don't know who it
it's
is.
so hard to draw parallels between previous success or failures to current results. It's so hard to do it, especially in our sport now.
Daylight savings time ends this weekend, so set your clock back 1 hour Sunday morning, technically at 2 a.m., or fall back before bed Saturday nights. High-tech devices like our phones should reset the time automatically. Just don't forget that clock on the stove or in your car. From the Texas USA Radio News Bureau, I'm Val Dior.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the views of WVBF ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests. Hey, Joey, what's happening? I mean, what's happening in Middleboro and surrounding towns? It's time for the Middleboro Week in Review with your host, Joey Driscoll. Stay tuned for news, Middleboro News, here on AM 1530 WVBF. Hey, Joey, what's happening?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the November 1st edition of Middleboro in Review. The day after Halloween, All Saints Day today, November 1st, 2020. Usually the day after Halloween is called All Saints Day. So I hope everyone is having a great start to All Saints Day. So, November 1st, 2020, and joining me is Dawn
Good morning, Joe.
How are you, Don?
You know what? We're sitting here at 7 a.m. at the center of the universe in Taunton, Massachusetts, 14 Church Green. And it's light out. We haven't seen that in a few weeks.
Yeah.
It's been pretty dark in the morning. So this is different. I mean, we pay for it at the end of the day, right?
Yes.
And it's dark at 4:30, but it's nice to see it light at 7 because the last couple, few weeks, it's been dark here when you light up.
Yeah.
At 7, so it's different, I think. But we do lose a lot of daylight in the next few weeks and months.
Yep.
Get used to it.
December 21st is when we're going to have the shortest day of the year.
And you don't start noticing it until like mid-February, the daylights.
Yeah, when we go back, when we try
it's March.
to gain the
It's back in March though,
yeah.
but I mean you do notice it in February.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's part of the seasons of New England, I guess.
Paul Lazarovich from Cranberry Country Journal has checked into the Facebook.
Nice.
Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Paul.
So let's do the weather for today, November 1st. Like I said, today is All Saints Day. 37 degrees currently in Middleboro, 59 for the high, and rain in the forecast. We're off to a good start today, this morning, but apparently rain is in the forecast for today. Taunton, Massachusetts, 34 currently, 58 degrees for the high, and rain also in the forecast. In Driscoll, North Dakota, it is a chilly 19 degrees with a high of 45. And right now in Driscoll, Texas, it is a abnormally cold 52 degrees right now with a high of 83 today. So, that's the weather for today. And
I do want to mention, we fall back in the fall, so the clocks went back an hour. So don't forget, this is a good time to swap out your batteries in your smoke detectors.
Yes, we're going to mention something about that too later on in the show.
It's just they recommended that you do that automatically every time that your clocks change, so you have a fresh battery in your smoke. So you really want it to work when you need it. I mean, they're pretty useless if the batteries are dead, right?
Yeah. And speaking of daylight savings time, I know there are states that don't do it. Arizona,
and some reservations.
And also reservations in areas
I'm not sure.
around
was it the Navajo?
The country.
Was it the Navajo Nation that didn't do it, or one of them, or the Hopi Nation? You should look into that. I think we talked about that back in March.
Arizona and Hawaii did not set their clocks back or forward ahead, and they really didn't do it. They didn't do it. They don't do it. So I wanted to mention that too when it comes to daylight savings time. So the most important thing is the smoke detectors, and I have a little bit of something to talk about with that. So the Middleboro Fire Department is reminding residents to check their smoke detectors and smoke alarms. Chief Lance Benjamino and Middleboro Fire Department encourage residents to test their smoke and carbon monoxide alarms when setting their clocks back for daylight savings time. Daylight savings time ends on Sunday, November 1st, 2 a.m., and the clocks will move back 1 hour at that time. Prevent fires by checking and changing your smoke alarm batteries during daylight savings time, Chief Benjamino said. Life expectancy for smoke alarms is around 10 years, so be sure to always check the manufacturing date. According to the International Association of Firefighters, working smoke alarms decrease the risk of dying in home fires by nearly half. Additionally, in many reported home fires in which smoke detectors were present but did not operate, the batteries had been removed or the alarm was disconnected due to dead battery alerts or nuisance alarms. The National Fire Protection Association reports that nearly 3 out of 5 fires at the home resulted from fires in homes with no smoke alarms, 38%, or no working smoke alarms, 21%. Additionally, dead batteries caused 1/4 of the smoke alarm failures. The Middleboro Fire Department also asks that all business owners not only change their clocks, but also change the batteries in their smoke and carbon monoxide alarms, and replace the batteries on wall-mounted emergency lights and exit signs. All businesses should have emergency backup lighting as a safety feature to provide temporary lighting in case of a power failure. And they also have some safety tips as well. Install smoke alarms inside of each bedroom, outside each sleeping area, and on every level of the home, including the basement. On levels without bedrooms, install alarms in a central location or near the stairway to an upper level. Smoke alarms should be installed at least 10 feet from cooking appliances to minimize false alarms. CO is known to be an invisible killer. It is colorless and odorless. It may also affect adults, children, and pets differently. Test smoke and CO alarms at least once per month using the test button. And it goes on to list many other tips as well. If you want to read this entire article, just search Middleboro Fire Department smoke alarms daylight savings time on Google. You will find it, and you'll find this article and many other articles like it about smoke detectors and daylight savings time and the reminders to change them. Any thoughts, Don?
On the smoke detectors?
Yeah.
Yeah, change them.
Yes,
Change them,
very
swap 'em
important.
out. I mean, it's your house. You want to get out. You want to be safe. I mean, you figure the frustration of fire officials when they have to pull a lifeless body out of a house that could have been avoided because just from common sense, a lot of I worked with some firefighters over the years, being in the oil business. A lot of oil guys, oilmen, firefighters too. They're part-time jobs, so I know a lot of them. Weymouth, Brockton, Braintree, and they told me all the same. And these guys been on the force a lot. I mean, been on the fire department a long time, and they tell me the same stories. It's just the house got burnt down, got torched, or whatever, and there was they had to take people out who didn't survive, and they look at the smoke detectors and the batteries are missing, or whatever, or they didn't have them. So it's very important. It's very important to do that. I mean, no one wants to be preached to, but it's just important because that's your 1 minute. That's your 1 minute. You get 1 or 2 minutes to get out. That's it. Usually, if it's a bad fire and it's cooking, it's going. That's your, because once the smoke gets in there, you're done. You can't breathe through the smoke. You can't see. You can't breathe. I had one co-worker. His name was Eddie. He worked for the Brockton Fire. He told me some stories. He would break my heart, bring me to tears. And that's why a lot of the firefighters, they're haunted by that. There's a lot of it is preventable, in my opinion. Just from the stories I've told, I've heard. So I do remember some of the stories he told me, and these years ago. He's told me these stories, and they were stuck in my head because and it's hard for them to tell. Sometimes they don't really want to talk about it because it's and the few times that they might have talked to about it, you listen because it's far and few between. I think so. I'm a loss for words.
Yeah, it is extremely important.
I just remember those stories. It's just you could read from that, and people gotta listen and whatnot. And it's gotta be in the news. They said it in the news. They could talk about it all day, all weekend.
Yep.
But to really hit home is to sit down and maybe talk to a firefighter. And that's if he talks about it. That's if he opens up about it. A lot of them can't.
Yeah.
It's too painful. The memories are too painful. And I think it's trust, because you work with somebody, you get a common bond with somebody working with. And like I said, I worked with about 4, 5, 6 firefighters over the years, working for the oil companies, different oil companies that I worked for over the years. So it's important. So Joe, imagine not being able to get out, or imagine not being able to get up enough to get your kids out.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it is a sad thing, but truly, it's you work for the fire department. You got to see that.
So it's very important, especially during this time, to check your smoke detectors all the time. Check them all the time. Like the article said, once a month, test them. It's very important.
Yeah.
They will save your life.
Right. Make a list. I mean, it's probably a 5-minute thing to do once a week. Test your smoke alarms. Make sure, even if you have a back door, it's not plugged up with anything. As far as even like a lot of people have like laundry rooms that go to the garage areas or whatever they call mudrooms or whatnot, and that's another way out. Well, make sure that's all cleared out. Make sure you don't have laundry baskets and boxes in the way. If you need to go out that way, the thing is, if it's dark because of smoke, you can be tripping over this stuff, and then that's all you need. And the panic sets in, and it can't be good after that. So I don't know. It's a split-second decision that you need. That split-second timing you need in an emergency, and anything you can do to prepare for that is ideal.
Yes, absolutely.
But on a lighter note, Joe, what about the April Fool's joke yesterday morning?
April Fool's joke?
Yeah.
The snow?
The ice.
And the ice, yeah.
Everything. All the locks were frozen. You couldn't get the snow off the vehicles. There was black ice everywhere. It was insane. It was crazy. It was just, everything was just in a frozen cocoon. It was the craziest thing. And it really didn't start melting off. And then when it started melting, all the ice on the trees and all the trees were drooping over. It was kind of beautiful in a way, looking at the trees. But they were all drooping over. And I was delivering oil on Friday. And I had to go, like I was in Situate, I had to go around the trees because all the weight of the leaves on the tree and the snow was drooping the trees down.
Yep.
Like teardrops, in a way. And yesterday was like, then when it all started melting, like chunks of ice were falling on the vehicle. So, I mean, that was kind of crazy. It really, I'd say it was like noontime, 1 o'clock before it really broke out of the freeze. I mean, we lost a lot of snow in the afternoon and warmed up and we got October sun. It's still high in the sky. It's not it's not December or February, but that was, I'm sure it aggravated a lot of people. A lot of people were at the beach. They couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I had to try to go and do a job, and I couldn't really get to the job until like almost 3 o'clock because my truck was frozen. I had a load of debris from the last job, from last week. That I had to wait because I knew that wasn't going to dump out. Everything was crazy. The door locks all frozen. Everything. You were slipping and sliding. There was ice everywhere. The roads were terrible. 6 o'clock yesterday morning was a nightmare. So if you were smart, you just stayed in bed, watched Scooby-Doo until like 12 o'clock.
Or watch
whatever you want.
Watched, local stations like, MeTV. We had
listen to WVBF on Saturday.
or WVBF on Saturdays with all the great programming as well.
So
or TV with all the great Saturday programming as well. A local station comes to mind, MeTV, all great programs.
You can
MASH.
MASH and
Columbo, a lot of great things.
A
lot of great things.
Yeah, so yesterday morning was no joke. And I just hope everyone got through it all right because it's, first of all, psychologically, it's psychologically damning in your head.
Yeah.
That you have that weather at this early point in the time, and then when the snow started melting, then you started lost a lot of leaves. So you saw that golden. It was kind of pretty. The golden leaves on the ground with the snow like glycerin off the leaves. That's how I could explain it. It was kind of nice. I mean, for a brief moment until you got out and you slipped and fell. And it's not so nice.
Yeah, it's not. No.
But it was nice. It was and one other thing too. I want to thank Jim Larkin, the bottom of my heart, for dedicating his October 18th show to my mother, Mary Rose, who passed away on October 14th, 2020. I would listen to it in the vehicle. I wasn't here at the studio. I was attending family obligations because of my mother's passing. That's why I've been out the last couple of weeks. But having you, Joey, host the, help him with the show and name the songs and her favorite songs was touching. It was just listening. I made sure I was, in the vehicle listening, and it moved me to tears. I never cry, but it was beautiful, and I had family members listen, and the last surviving sister on my mother's side, my Aunt Peg, she lives up in Bill Ricker, Tewksbury. I mean, that's got to be out of the range of our antennas, pretty much, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
She told me that she got 4 songs up there.
Wow.
From her radio. Because she's not really, I don't think she's figured out the in-tune thing at all. You know? I mean, technology's a little tougher for the older folks, but they're working on it. But she said she heard 4 songs, and she heard you. I wasn't sure what part of the show was. But she said it was clear as day. Like 3 or 4 songs in one.
Wow.
Clear as day. Up in Tewksbury. So, go figure. How does that reach all the way to Tewksbury? It's almost in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've talked maybe, you sit here, talked to Chris Keach, who's been in this industry for years, and he told. We talked about how sometimes the signal waves are weird in some ways, and I think he might have explained to me how that could happen or whatnot, and maybe Tony would have explained. He says that we have listeners down in North Fall River too, which is a little ways, but Tewksbury, Massachusetts is pretty far away. It's about 40-something miles. So she was able to hear that, and maybe a little miracle there at the same time.
Yeah.
But I do want to thank Jim Larkin, my whole family, and that was just such a beautiful show. I'll never forget it as long as I live.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. Thank you, Joey.
All right, so 7:26 a.m. already. Where does the time go?
When you get Blabbermouth back in the studio.
The time flies by.
Yeah,
7:20, actually 7:27 now. When we return, I'm going to talk a little bit about Week 8 of the NFL season, the most important week of the season for the Patriots, I think. This is their season. If they lose today, their season is in jeopardy. I wouldn't say over, but in jeopardy.
Oh.
But 2-4 right now. If they lose today, 2-5, which that's not great. So
what? 2 losses and
two wins and 5 losses.
What's Tampa Bay's record?
I think they're 5-2 right now.
Oh,
I think they're sitting at 5-2 with a very winnable game today against the Giants. So
that was the big.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like we were talking about the big split between. Who knows? It's not even a split. They could be friends, or it's just more a business decision, whatever.
Yeah.
But you look at it as like Belichick's without Brady. And Brady's out, without Belichick after 20-something years. Or how long he's been there. So you're always wondering.
Yeah.
But don't you know what?
And through 7
You know
games
what?
so far.
You know what? Belichick is a wizard. He's a master.
Yeah.
He may not have much to work with, but believe me, he'll make it work.
He's making this work as much as he can. And
They
I
have,
think
they have to win today, though, right?
yes, they have to win today. They're making it work, and I think they're trying to set themselves up to, if they don't make the playoffs, which I don't know, I have no idea if they will or not. It's still way too early to say, but if they happen to not make the playoffs, they might be set up very well in the draft, and that's what Belichick might want to do, is set us up very well in the draft. I know the trade deadline's coming up. I've heard not a whole lot about players coming here. Maybe one or two players that they might be interested in. But I'm not sure what's going on with that. But when we return, we'll talk a lot about the NFL. And we'll also talk about the election coming up. We're going to talk about the polling places you can go in Middleboro to go and vote on Tuesday. And that is Tuesday the 3rd coming up. Just about a little more than 48 hours away. So that's coming up. So we'll be right back after these series of commercial breaks. You're listening to Middleboro in Review for November the 1st, All Saints Day 2020. WVBF 1530 AM, 99.7 FM. You're also listening to us on TuneIn as well. Or you're listening to us on the Audio Now number, 605-562-7958. We'll be right back here on Middleboro in Review.
Yeah, where does the time go?
Oh, that's the open. What am I doing? There we go.
I'm afraid of the bus over that one.
That happens. Can't be perfect. Can't be perfect. Alright.
Do they have some coffee, Joey?
Splash Street Auto Body, located at 48 Spark Street, Massachusetts, offers the highest quality
coffee.
complete auto service for your car. They are a direct location.
It's American coffee.
All major
Okay.
insurance
Oh, it's Colombian made. Most coffees from Colombia.
$14.95. They're open
If they ever have a bad
Monday through Thursday,
property, that's why
and
coffee
8 to
prices
4 on Fridays.
They always
Call them
call
today. You will not be disappointed. 508-583-1495.
Hey, you're not playing,
What?
You're not playing,
Association.
you gotta make another commercial for,
combat veterans from all branches
you gotta make another commercial for Williams Trade Books, right?
who ride motorcycles.
You should do it for December, for the Christmas tree, remember?
Oh, yeah.
You're not playing them in them, they're closed now, right?
They're coming up on, yeah. Okay, yeah, they're closed.
Yeah, they
Alright, I forgot about that.
Remember you asked Mark and he said to do that?
Yeah, forgot about that. I
December,
got,
October?
yeah, I got
So,
to do that this week.
yeah, then just maybe play them, maybe we'll mention it like the week before they open, live, and then,
Continue to serve
yeah, you need to.
civil serving
Right.
combat veterans.
Yeah.
We sponsor and or participate in many motorcycle-related charity events each year, and as a non-profit organization, donate to various veteran care facilities and veteran charities. To learn more about the combat,
We'll take another commercial break at 7:45.
you can join or
We'll have a quick little segment of just NFL stuff.
to
And then
.org.
Good way to shut me up.
another break. And then the final couple of minutes, we'll do Sean Connery, I think. And then after that, the Today in Histories. I have a couple Today in Histories to do. And then, yeah. That'll be it. That'll be the show.
Anyone affected by the COVID-19 crisis is welcome to register as a client.
Oh, and we gotta do the elections too.
Just call 508-947.
I'll do a quick NFL thing
and leave a message by selecting option
this week.
1. Your call
I'll have to
will
do
be
a
returned
whole
by a
thing.
volunteer who will add you to our list of clients. For the homebound or others who are self-quarantined, we will shop for you and deliver the groceries directly to your door. During the pandemic, we've taken all necessary precautions for the safety of clients and volunteers and have managed to remain open throughout the crisis.
Hi, this is Ray Brown, inviting you to tune in to Talkin' Birds, a show about wild birds, birding, and conservation, right here on WVBF, broadcasting from the Taunton Federal Credit Union studios at 14 Church Green. Join us for informative interviews and fun information about birds and birding. It's Talkin' Birds, Saturday mornings at 8 and Sunday mornings at 9, here on WVBF, AM 1530 and 99.7 FM.
Hi, this is Jim Larkin. Hope you can join me every Sunday from noon to 2 o'clock here on WVBF, The Sounds of the Emerald Isle. We'll have some great Irish music, some folk, traditional, country, and contemporary, and sometimes some live singers in the studio. And to make you laugh, some Irish comedy. That's Sunday from noon to 2 right here on WVBF, 1530 Taunton, Middleboro, and on the internet at hometowntalkradio.com.
Yep. And we're back here on Middleboro Review. 7:34 currently, right now, outside of our Taunton studios, our Taunton Federal Credit Union studios, 14 Church Green.
Center of the universe.
The center of the universe.
But I think Barry Sanders trademarked that. So every time we say that, I think we have to give Barry Sanders royalty fees for using that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if we say 23rd or 22nd century.
Oh, then it's more?
As well. That's more trademark.
That's more royalties to Barry Sanders as far as, yeah, well. I'm sure he's keeping track of it.
All right.
I like how he says that. I love how he said that when he opens his show. Taunton Meeting House, Silver City Meeting House, and that's just so cool. The way he says it, too. I mean, we can't duplicate it better than he could.
All right. So, very quickly, let's go over some NFL games real quick. So we have some interesting games coming up. The undefeated Steelers. Yes, I said undefeated. They have not won a game. They have not lost a game.
You know what?
Steelers.
Just go ahead and lay your hands on a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and then you'll finally understand. Where's from Charlie? Sorry, I'll let you get back to it.
Steelers and Ravens are facing each other today at 1 o'clock. That is the game of the week, right there. Easily. That is the game of the week.
Who are they playing?
Steelers versus Ravens. Easily the game of the week.
Oh.
Easily the game of the week. Those two teams are really good.
Roethlisberger still?
Yes.
Yep.
He is having a bounce-back season. He's having an amazing season. He's fighting father time when it comes to being in the NFL. He's getting up there in age, but he's still...
He's younger than Brady, though, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, he's younger than Brady. But he has been injured a lot. And a lot of people wrote him off. This year. But he's bouncing back. And the Steelers are bouncing back. They have a great team. Another important game. This is probably the most important game of the week for our team. Patriots versus the Bills. Patriots 2-4 right now. The Bills are the AFC East leaders. If we do not win...
Are they playing in Buffalo? Or?
Yeah, I don't know if it's in Buffalo or in New England. I don't know.
Right.
If we do not win this game, we do not win the AFC East. That is clear. We do not
Really?
win.
At this point in time?
At this point in time, if we do not beat the Bills, I think it is pretty much done. The AFC East is pretty much the Bills' division.
So there's no way that the Patriots could come back and win anything?
If the Bills have a massive collapse, yes, it could happen. But you also have the Dolphins there too that are doing really well as well. The Patriots have some competition.
It's funny, all the teams that we are that the Patriots always beat up on are threatening.
Yeah, the Patriots, the Bills, The Bills and the Dolphins are threatening the Patriots right now.
That's
The
what I'm
Jets,
saying. They were never really, teams to worry about.
the
Jets,
Jets,
same
different
thing.
story right now. They're 0-7, so
Oh, really?
they're tanking. They're pretty much they're tanking.
Well, they're the Jets. Who cares?
I don't know. They have a good quarterback, but
I was thinking
he's not consistent.
I was thinking about that loudmouth Rex Ryan.
Yeah,
He's a great coach, but he was just...
They're letting players leave
Yeah.
pretty much now. They're letting players leave. They're probably going to end up being 0-16. And yeah, it's not going to be fun for the Jets this year. But they can't get any worse than 0-16. I'm just going to say that. I think they'll bounce back next year for sure.
There's no rhyme or reason for 2020, so...
No, absolutely not. Teams like the Raiders, they're doing good. Raiders face off against the Browns. That is a very important game, too, for them. So, yeah, a lot of great games. Tomorrow night, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers face off against Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. So that's going to be a fun game. The team to watch in the NCAA, college football, is the BYU Cougars. They're off to a 7-0 start. They're off to a really great start. A 7-0 start. They're ranked number 11 as of right now. Of course, that will change, most likely because they did win yesterday. They beat Western Kentucky 41-10. So they're off to an alright start. Just outside the top 10, which really is good. I think if they keep it up, they could be possibly considered for Rose Bowl, or maybe even if they keep it up and other teams collapse who are in the top 5, they could make it to a football playoff. We'll see. The BYU Cougars are doing really well right now. So, let's move on to elections. I want to talk a little bit about where you can vote in Middleboro. The election is this Tuesday coming up. We have polling locations that you can go to. The state and presidential elections are coming up. Well, for the state and for several other states, all 50 are voting for president. So, polling hours for presidential elections, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. are the hours. So, that's 13 hours that you can go vote on Tuesday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. There are 5 precincts. Precinct 1 is Oak Point, the Oak Point Clubhouse, 202 Oak Point Drive in Middleboro. Precincts 2, 4, and 6 is the Middleboro High School Gymnasium, 71 East Grove Street. Precinct 3 is South Middleboro Fire Station, 566 Wareham Street in Middleboro. And precinct number 5 is the Council on Aging, 558 Plymouth Street in Middleboro. So, those are your precincts to go and vote in the election. Again, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. is the hours to go and vote for our next president, or for an incumbent, if
anything else, Senate,
or anything else.
Senate races,
and there's also Senate races as well on the docket. There's so many different other races as well.
U.S. representatives,
yeah,
state representatives,
state rep,
and
even local. There
local.
might be even some local things going on as well, on the ballot.
It's funny driving around delivering oil. you go from all these different towns and you can see all the different state senate and state representatives.
Yep.
And you can kind of figure out what party they're in by what lawn they're on.
Yep.
Because if there's a Biden Harris sign, there's usually you can pretty much see who the local representatives of state senates are with, and then vice versa. If you see a Trump, then you see. So it's funny how you drive down the road, and you look at a yard, and there's like 4 different names on someone's lawn. So it's cool though. I mean, I like looking at the signs, but it's funny if you're sick of the signs, you didn't want to look at them. The snowstorm, or at least one side of it, because of the wind, blocked out all the snow, stuck to all the signs. At least one side, anyway.
Yeah.
So if you were sick of looking at them, you got to reprieve from not looking at the signs for like 6 or 7 hours. But the snow melted, so you got to look at the signs tomorrow, Monday, maybe Tuesday.
All right, real quick, another quick article before we take another commercial break. When we get back from a commercial break, we are going to talk a little bit about Sean Connery. Sean Connery passed away yesterday. We're going to talk a little bit about him in the next segment. But first, the MBTA is changing commuter rail schedules next week. Here's what you need to know. If you are one of the few travelers who have returned to the MBTA commuter rail, be prepared for schedule changes starting Monday, November the 2nd. Changes will reflect changing ridership patterns amid the coronavirus pandemic. And let me get where the changes are going to be. There will be 39 more trains in service than last fall.
39 more trains?
39 more trains in service than last fall. Most of the new trains will serve Dorchester, Mattapan, and Hyde Park on the Fairmount line.
They built a lot of new stations on that line. They built like 4 new train stations. They opened them up in the last 2 or 3 years. So that area is definitely opened up as far as rail transportation.
Brockton on the Middleboro-Lakeville line, and Lynn on the Newbury-Rockport line. Midday service in Fairmount will operate 45 minutes, every 45 minutes. Brockton midday trains will operate 60 to 70 minutes, every 60 to 70 minutes. And Lynn midday trains will come every half hour. Service to Providence will also see more service during off-peak hours. The express trains will return to the Framingham-Worcester line in the heart of the hub service. A daily non-stop train from Worcester to Framingham to Boston and back will also resume. A couple commuter rail service pilots that began last fall will be suspended. Weekday trains to Foxborough will be paused until next spring. Late night service to the South Shore on the Greenbush, Kingston, Plymouth, and Middleboro-Lakeville lines will be cut. Only 7% of morning peak ridership has recovered since March, according to a September press release, while 11% of all-day ridership has returned. Those aren't great numbers.
You know what? I think before the pandemic started, we were so used to being cooped up in subway cars and buses and trains. I mean, bumper to bumper. I mean, you ever ride on this red line with me when it was busy?
Yes.
And people standing up, and I mean, you're shoulder to shoulder with people.
It's very busy.
I don't know. I'm not sure people are going to put up with that anymore. I'm not sure people are going to stand for that anymore. First of all, something wrong with that. That there's so many people. It just to have that, it fell into the norm. It's been like that my whole life.
Yeah.
As far as I remember, even going as a young man, early teenager, going into Boston and whatnot, it was always the way. It was always what was the deal? Not enough cars to service the population that needs to ride. So we got used to it. So they're looking at they're not complaining. So we don't have to put any more cars on. But now, I don't think people are going to put up with that anymore. People are not even if there's a even if there's a vaccine and this goes into the history books, people aren't going to want the psyche about it. People aren't going to want to ride in a subway car, shoulder to shoulder anymore. Period. I think that's the end of that. So they got this beautiful transportation system, i.e., commuter rail, subway, and buses. But they need to figure out how to run more of them and how to do it more efficiently. So the burden's on the team to do a better job, I think. So hopefully they're up for the task because people are all done doing that. What are you looking for over there?
Nothing.
Oh,
Just organizing. Getting
yeah,
other programs ready for the next show that's going to be coming up.
What's the next show going to be, Jeff?
Bread of Life is coming up at 8 a.m. or 8:05 a.m. this morning.
Right after the news.
Right after the news. Today's program will be called Cover Me. That will be today's program for Bread of Life. We also have the Rosary coming up. We have Keys of the Kingdom, Talking Birds. We also have Musical Odyssey, First Baptist Church of Randolph with Pastor Roger Haber. And we also have Sounds of the Emerald Dial. And to end today, we have Stand Up Strong with Ed Miller and Tony Branch. Those are the programs that are coming up today after me. A lot of great programming here on WVBF on a Sunday. We'll be right back here on Middleboro in Review. We're going to take another commercial break. When we return, we're going to talk a little bit about Sean Connery, who passed away yesterday. We're going to talk a little bit about his career and some of the great movies he's been in. We'll be right back here on Middleboro in Review. All right. Good stuff.
Commercial property for sale.
Hi, this is Chris Keach, host of the Morning Wake Up News on WVBF. Beginning at 7 a.m. weekday mornings, I present a fast-paced 2 hours of the latest local headlines, the weekend sports, and the 3-day weather forecast. I also liven things up with several featured segments, including little-known facts with Chaz Allen.
Some movies that he was in.
Daily Bread.
He was in The Hunt for Red October, right? Was in that? Hunt for Red October? Wasn't in that?
Yes, he was.
He was.
He was Ramius.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was awesome.
And the USA Radio Network has the latest world and national news. So please join me Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for the Morning Wake Up News. It's all here at AM 1530, WBBF, and 99.7 FM. We are your hometown radio station.
Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association is an association of combat veterans from all branches of the United States Armed Forces who ride motorcycles as a hobby. Our mission is to support those who have defended our country and freedoms. Our focus is to help veteran care facilities provide a warm meal, clothing, shelter, and guidance, or simply to say thank you and welcome home. We have members from nearly all 50 states and living abroad. Many members continue to serve in our armed forces, with several serving in combat areas now. We sponsor and or participate in many motorcycle-related charity events each year, and as a nonprofit organization, donate to various veteran care facilities and veteran charities. To learn more about the Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association and how you can join or support, please visit cvma2-2.org.
St. Vincent de Paul of Sacred Heart Church in Middleboro serves the residents of the towns of Middleboro, Lakeville, Carver, and Rochester. Our base of operations is in the lower level of the parish hall on Oak Street. directly across the street from Sacred Heart Church in downtown Middleboro. At this time, we serve approximately 500 families in our service area, and many of them come to us for various types of aid. This can take many forms and include many of the following programs: utilities and rent assistance, agency referrals, clothing and furniture vouchers, and temporary lodging. For more information, go to svdbmiddleboro.org. May the good Lord bless you and keep you safe.
And we're back here on Middleboro Review for November 1st, 2020. Again, it is All Saints Day, the day after Halloween. So, yesterday, the world lost a great actor. Scotland lost a great actor. Sir Thomas Sean Connery passed away at the age of 90 yesterday. And he was a great actor. He was in so many great films. When you think of James Bond, the first person you think of is Sean Connery. He was the first James Bond in film to be James Bond in films. I mean, there was many other actors who have been James Bond, but Sean Connery was the first. He was in 7 James Bond films, from the first film, Dr. No, to You Only Live Twice, plus Diamonds Are Forever and Never Say Never Again. He was also in those films as well.
Never Say Never Again, that came out in the 80s. That came out in 83, and that, I don't think that was an Ian Fleming movie. It wasn't it was James Bond. It was kind of weird how that came, because that came out in 83. That came out during the Roger Moore era, because Roger Moore was Bond at that time. But it's good that he did one more movie in the 80s, and it was a great movie. But I don't think it was Ian Fleming. I think it was something different. But they were able to use the Bond name or something. But that was a great movie. It was good that he came out, because I think the last one he did was 1971, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So
The original batch.
Other great movies he was in: Bridge Too Far, Highlander, The Name of the Rose, The Untouchables, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, The Hunt for October.
That was awesome. Captain Ramius, awesome character. That movie was so good. Everyone was great in that movie. That was awesome. That was an awesome movie.
So, again, great actor, passed away. Sean Connery, born in Fountain Bridge, Edinburgh, Scotland, and passing away October 31st, 2020.
October 30th, you mean, right?
31st. It says
it was
31st here.
yesterday? Yeah.
Yes, yesterday. It says passed away October 31st, 2020 in Nassau, Bahamas. So, let's do Today in History. We got about 2 or 3 minutes left in the program. We have 2 Today in Histories to talk about today. 1870, in the United States, the Weather Bureau, later renamed the National Weather Service, makes its first meteorological forecast. And in 1982, Honda becomes the first Asian automobile company to produce cars in the United States, with the opening of a factory in Marysville, Ohio. A Honda Accord is the first car produced there. Birthdays today. Bobby Heenan, American wrestler, manager, and sportscaster, legendary WWF manager. Legendary. Sportscaster also, he did commentary for WWF as well. He would have been 76 today. Bobby Heenan. Or he would have been 76 today, yes. Deaths on this day. James Broderick, American actor and director. James Broderick is the father of Matthew Broderick, the famous actor who was in Bueller's Day Off.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, yeah. James Broderick.
Rooney!
James Broderick is the father. James Broderick is the father of Matthew Broderick. 1999. The NFL lost a great player. Walter Payton, American football player and race car driver. I did not know about this. Walter Payton. I did not know he was a race car driver. But we lost him on this day in 1999. A very famous running back for the Chicago Bears. He played for 13 seasons. He's regarded as one of the best running backs of all time. There is a award named after him as well, the Walter Payton Award as well. And it's the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. And that is highlighted by a player who simplifies greatness outside of the NFL.
Hey, Joe?
Yes?
Can I add one more birthday?
Yes.
On a personal note?
Yeah.
Francis Patrick Driscoll, your grandfather and my father, would have been 86 today.
So it is 8 o'clock, and that will do it for today's program, November 1st. Stay tuned for The Bread of Life at 8:05. Have a great All Saints Day if you celebrate it, if you celebrate All Saints Day or recognize All Saints Day. All Saints Day is very popular in the Spanish community and everyone who
Catholics
or Catholic community as well. If you if you recognize All Saints Day, have a great All Saints Day. So what was it?
Have a good week, everyone.
Have a great week, everybody, as well. It's the first week of November. We're closing in on 2021. We got about 8 weeks left in the year. So, yeah. All right, well, take care, everybody, and we'll see you next week for the November 8th edition of Middleboro in Review. Perfect. Great program.
Did they have your assistant back? You shut my mic off by talking.
No, it's fine. It's 8:02. You know. Play a 3-minute news and get on to the next program. That's all. Not a big deal. Okay. Update the news here. See you, everybody.